So, Justin, I didn't know I was making you nervous or uh, telling you how to prepare for this. What the reason I wanted to do this is because facilities are important, and our team, the people out in the field, they've been struggling. You know it, right?
Yes, sir.
And it's one of the things that I appreciate about you is because you care about it. I mean, you truly do care about it. As I've traveled these facilities now, I don't even know how many I've been in. Seeing some of the troubles with our infrastructure, hearing about it for a long time before getting here, and then seeing the resources, some that I believe are coming to be able to help us, but then even some of the few resources we have, how they're spent, how they're doing it. I think our teams out on the front lines need to understand more. I think they would appreciate it if they're able to understand more. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Like
sir.
they don't ever get to see. One of the criticisms that I had even before getting this job from some of the friends that work in this agency is whatever you do, don't get to central office and just listen to them, right? Get out and see it. So I go on the weekends to these facilities where they can't hide all the mop buckets and those things. And so it's important, right? How we do it is important. And I know you have a passion for it, and I just think others should be able to appreciate hearing some of that passion and knowing that there are people that really do care on trying to get this right. Man, I'm glad you came here today. I know that this is not usually the requirements of somebody in your position to have to do what you do and have to get on camera and be in front of a lot of people. So I appreciate your willingness to do so. I think it's important for our people out in the field to get to hear from those of us, especially those like you, that are out working very hard and taking into consideration some of the challenges that we have as an agency. And facilities is a big one, right? We've had a lot of issues with facilities, and I know you guys have been trying to stretch a nickel into a dollar for a really long time. I think there's some fair criticism, some unfair criticism, but at the end of the day, people just want to walk around in facilities that don't have leaking roofs and all these other challenges. And so I really appreciate you being willing to discuss this today, to where we can kind of give some of the updates where we're at, and then we'll talk a little bit about where we're going and some of the things that we're doing. So, but let's start off. Tell me a little bit about your history with the agency first, and what brought you into facilities and why you're passionate about it.
Okay. So I started as a GS5 correctional officer at Hazleton, worked my way up through custody at Hazleton, and then was fortunate enough to get into facilities. That's what I had previously done in my public work experience. So I came into facilities, worked hard through that, ended up promoting to general foreman at Beaumont, Texas. In-housed as the complex facility manager at Beaumont, was selected as resource section chief over the B&F funding in central office, and then now fortunate enough to be selected as the chief. With that, I was able to see the hardships that we were facing in the field. Specifically when I went from a newer institution, Hazleton, to an older institution, Beaumont, and I was able to see the environment, the taxing environment that's in, trying to figure out creative ways to fix that place and to make it more resilient, with all of the weather events it experiences, and then the lack of funding that you're given. So that's where my passion started, and then I was able to kind of go to a bigger scale when I became the resource chief. Trying to maintain a budget for all of the locations and try to keep everything running smoothly. And then now as the chief, I'm just trying to I've built a team around me that, I mean, they're the best in the business, and just trying to figure out new ways outside of the box. We haven't really made any crazy technical changes in facilities. We're just making common sense decisions. I mean, our little thing is, would you do this at home? No. Well, then don't do it at work. And that's the changes we've made, those minor adjustments. And, I mean, it's had some great rewards in the field thus far.
Hmm. So, you know, the you and I got a chance to be together on a trip, and 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 that's when I think we were able to connect and be able to talk about facilities. Facilities. I've done some developing and construction, had a construction company, and have been able to experience some of those things. A lot different in the free world than government. Government sure does pay a lot more for those things and a little more difficult to deal with on some of the things, a few government contracts that I've had. And, I know that your team have been feeling some pressure, but hopefully some joy as well. Just what most people don't listen to this know is that just a few weeks ago, I took over direct leadership of facilities with you. And I know that's put you kind of in a difficult situation. I wanted to make sure that that's done right, and we don't have a lot of time. We've got people that need it, and I want to make sure that we're cutting through some bureaucratic levels, and I just wasn't going to allow there going to be any distance between you and I. So hopefully you'll forgive me for doing that. Um, but I've had great joy hearing you and your team discuss ideas. From the very first meeting, I went down there, which, by the way, I didn't think that was that big of a deal. I just went down an elevator and walked a few steps. And so, and greeted by your team so warmly. Tell me a little bit about how your team's feeling right now, and you can be very candid. You can be honest. I mean, again, I want people to know where we're at because we're in transitions, trying to figure this thing out. But let's talk about where facilities is right now.
Well, where facilities is right now, ever since that meeting that you came down, I have a full-time job in the evenings just trying to go through their great ideas that they're giving me. And I mean that when I tell you that. I mean, I'm dealing with, they're sending me, we actually sat down and had meetings with all of my staff. And all I said was, hey, at the end of this conversation, if you have any regrets about anything you've said, that we've complained about stuff that was done the wrong way your whole career and you had a better way to do it. If you don't bring it forward in this meeting, shame, there's no shame but on yourself after that. So we've had ideas outside of facilities, inside of facilities, and they're just really good, really, really good ideas. And, I've been trying to siphon a couple of those up to you just because it's so overwhelming. It's a good problem to have. I've got so many great ideas. I have to go through all of them before they come to you. And a lot of it is just with facilities. It's just common sense adjustments that we can make. A lot of that stuff I didn't even bring to your level because I don't know if anyone's ever, I was actually told that. And it was kind of I took it to heart. Someone had said, in one of the meetings, like, I've never even had the chance to meet Justin Thornton, but they work in a region and, I have direct impact to all of their operations and they've never even had the chance to meet me. And that was like, I took that to heart.
Wow.
And then was able to say, hey, these people are bringing up great ideas. And they said, we've never had the chance to do this. So, we implemented, that was something we did that day is, hey, we're going to do these meetings with everyone at least quarterly, at a minimum quarterly. And just so we can get these great ideas. I don't want to stop efficiency just because I'm too busy. I'll work the extra hours. I'll put in the extra time to meet with these people and, meet with people in the field and get to take these good ideas and implement that action. But that was something we've done is a lot of the stuff I didn't even bring to your level because it was just such great ideas that required little to no effort. I just implemented them. We was like, well, there's this piece in policy that, someone put in 100 years ago and this is why it was put in, but it's just completely impacting our operation. Well, we're evaluating all that stuff and we're going to change it. I fully anticipate a new policy coming out at some point in facilities because it's going to be taking a lot of that red tape and all of those extra levels of effort that we're requiring the field to put in. That's not even necessary. It's just a checkbox for someone at central office. We're going to cut all that out.
What's interesting for me is that I've learned in business, the best ideas are with the people on the front lines or the people that are involved in it. And just because I have construction experience or those things, I think the only idea I brought to you guys, not really an idea, a new idea, but I just told you I wanted to see more of it, was inmate labor and them being involved in this. We have a labor pool that we're not tapping into. No sense in spending millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars outside of here when we have people standing around. And I've always said, I think an idle inmate is the most dangerous inmate that we can have. So how do we do that? How do we teach them a skill? How do we get them to work? And how do we have them busy on something? But other than that, and we're already doing that to an extent. I just wanted to see more of it. What's been exciting is that I think it's been so long since you guys have been tapped into, and frankly, in this agency, period. One of the most powerful emails that have really just had me questioning things a little bit is somebody sent me an email and said, sir, for the first time working here in 23 years, It's the first time I've ever been asked my opinion on something. And I just thought, wow, how sad is that? I mean, we've got a lot of talent in this agency, just generally untapped. We're stuck in the same policies, the same ways, the same programs, the same we got to do it the same structure and don't ask why. And so one of the things I've appreciated about you and your team is you guys have responded. When I challenged you and said, no idea off the table. Like in the business world, I don't get that much excitement. Like it's exciting, but like for you guys, it's been like unleashing these years and decades of experience saying, hey, we can do this. And so I'm just going to tell you, I'm having fun watching you guys be able to come up with some of these ideas that can stretch these dollars, that can make sense, and it being a win all the way around.
Yeah, and I mean, like some of the things that we talked about, using that inmate labor force. I mean, we're looking at upwards of 45% savings on some projects. So, your challenge to me that day was, well, to all of us in facilities was how can we stretch this money beyond what its limitations is? The limitations, the 2 billion. How can we take that 2 billion with the $4 billion backlog? How can we take that 2 billion and make it 2.5 billion, make it 3 billion? And that's the kind of stuff that, my people are focused on every day. They're communicating with, I mean, anybody that has any type of involvement in facilities. My people are reaching out. They're turning over every stone. Trying to find any way they can. I mean, like I said, that one component, one little system, 45% savings. You're talking, $200 worth of projects that have a 45% savings potential now, just because of those minor adjustments that we've made. And we're trying to replicate that savings across all of our systems. That way we can truly, I mean, we've even the asphalt program, we've got that back up and going. Totally revamping the thing. We're not just trying to, we're trying to rethink things. We're not just trying to give people an education. We're not trying to give people a credential in BOP anymore. We've always it's great for these guys to get out. They have an HVAC certificate. But what we're trying to do is we're going to curtail. We've actually been collaborating with RSD. They've been so helpful. I mean, amazing towards us about, hey, you tell us where your big ticket projects are. We'll curtail our programs to fit you. So not only they're credentialing an inmate, and then we're giving them their hours. So they're not leaving out of here with an education. These inmates aren't releasing with just an education. They've already got 3, 4, 5 years of 40-hour week work experience. So these are people that, I mean, they're ready to be hired. They're ready to be supervisors when they get out. So that's something we've done. And I mean, the savings has been tremendous it was beyond what we even calculated. We've done our market research. Contractors we've told them, hey, we just don't want to use you for the labor. We're going to use our own people. Contractors are buying in. I mean, our market research, everybody. I mean, everybody's bought into this.
Yeah. You know what I love about it is that, I'm not really having to do a whole lot other than just say yes and make it easy for those of you that are already doing a great job. And I love being able to play that role in this because we have a lot of other departments that need to get to yes a lot faster as well. And so I look forward to being able to do some of those things. Let's talk about some concrete things that we've already been working on. I want our frontline staff and people to see some of the concrete things that we're talking about. So let's talk about like these powerhouses or the things that you've talked about. How are we doing life safety, fire type? Let's talk through how some of those things we can stretch some of those dollars and what that might look like.
So, for life safety, like the fire alarms, that was the first thing. I remember that day I brought that sheet to you and you just started writing all over the first page.
I was blown away.
It was like my first meeting with you. And I thought, at this point, I don't know how this meeting's going to go. Like this has been 30 seconds in front of you and you just wrote all over the sheet of paper I gave you. So I kind of figured this meeting's going to go south very quickly. But it was the opposite of that. You said, hey, based on this piece of paper, there's going to be a lot of contractors in this certain area in fire alarm and fire suppression and fire alarms. I think what you was marking up, that's going to make a lot of money off this. So we just kind of started focusing on that. We've got I wouldn't say a concrete plan because, it's still in the making, but we have a plan in place where our staff are going to get manufacturer training. stuff that they need. I mean, we're asking our staff to do stuff with no training and then wondering why, hey, it didn't work out the best way. Well, because we're not investing in our staff. So we're getting them like the highest credential of training that they can get. Our inmates, we're not just going to have inmates out there just doing work at whoever is supervising them that day's direction. The inmates are going to have training. So we've got contractors coming on site, giving the inmates training. We're talking about like total overhauls of fire alarm systems using resources that are already, I mean, I know this is something that no matter where you're at in facilities, this would impact you. All the fiber and all the stuff that's all left over and laying around, we're going to start using all of that resources to free up some space. So it's like a win on every level across the board. You've got roofing, we're looking at establishing a roofing program. We know, the efforts originally, they were kind of met with some issues because of tear off issues, because of things like that. We're curtailing this program to where it's going to address all of the failures of anything we've done previously. We're going to already have all that addressed. We've talked about the asphalt, and I think the asphalt program, the way that we're going to play that out, I've even pitched that to people in the field, and they're in love with it. Like I have people at least once or twice a week begging me to participate. Like, hey, let me be the first to be paved. It's not because not only they're going to get the pave, but because they see the way we're going to do business. They see that we're going to have people go out. You're gonna be at this institution, but then whatever institutions after that is actually going to come to that institution on our dime. We're going to pay for the travel. Let them see A to Z what needs to happen. So then when they go back to their institution, they already know. You're not just getting surprised with the roadway crew. You don't know what the requirement is. You've already saw it. You saw it on the last job. You helped work it. And then the next institution will report there. And then once I kind of explained that to people in the field, they were like, oh my gosh, this is how we should have been doing it all along. So, we're just trying to adopt those, like I said, just common sense things. I've been a contractor my whole life. I mean, that's how you run a business on the outside. And we're just trying to make those common sense decisions. My team up here now, we're all prior facility managers. These guys and gals, like they're the best. I mean, they've been through the ringer on these institutions, so they know. And it's crazy because in BOP, you always travel through your careers and you get to see different institutions. So they all have this experience from all these different institutions, or they know someone at all of these institutions to be able to kind of see the struggles and to know the situations. And then we just kind of take those lessons learned, from all of these different facility managers and all these different people in the field, and we apply it up here. And that's the decisions we're making. So you've had, like I said, fire alarm, roofing. We're looking at mold remediation. We do a lot of work in mold remediation. That was something that I kind of got into at Beaumont, and it's funny, you said it, and I was thinking it when you said it. You said, well, that's a quick way to make some money because nobody wants to do it.
It used to be my business.
Yeah, and that's exactly, I went and got my certification when I was at Beaumont. I used to tell people, I used to hide that certification because it was like once people found out, oh, he's got his certification, I became mobile at that point. Like, oh, he needs to go here and he needs to go there and he needs to go here. So I always try to keep that a secret because there is such a need in those southern Gulf states. There's a large environmental impact at those institutions. So we're looking at like an environmental crew with an interior repair crew. We're just trying to create some good jobs for people that has promotion potential for them to promote up into, but then still be able to make an impact that is more than what they've ever done in their entire career. I mean, in just a small amount of time with a small amount of projects, they'll have made an impact that bypasses some people's entire careers that they've done. So that's the kind of work we're trying to do.
Oh, that's great. And something with the our staff and our team doesn't know how much we've been working with Unicor and getting this all back right. We've got way too many closed factories. Unicor has operated in poor ways in the past. We've not supported BOP, a lot of that working group, and so it's been kind of a challenge over the years, and we're working on getting that right. And I just had a great meeting with Unicor yesterday, and so we're going to open up more facilities. We're going to provide more jobs in Unicor. It makes sense all the way around, and we're going to be supportive. We're going to do that again, eliminating idleness inside these prisons. It's important. But I told them yesterday, I said, just so you know, you guys are finally about to have some competition. because we're adding some positions, some inmate pay positions inside of facilities. And we're going to have some really good paying inmate pay facility for facilities. So you guys aren't going to be the highest paid person anymore. You guys are going to have some competition. You're taking all of our good people. That's what I hear from facilities teams all out as I travel. And so facilities, I've heard you, and we're fixing that. And so that's one of what we just had a meeting the other day. But I want you to talk about. I really like how you've taken that challenge of. I didn't tell you what to do. I just told you let's figure out nothing's off the table. I don't care bulk buying, creative buying, whatever we do, inmate labor, whatever it is. I don't want you to think about anything holding you back. I just want you to do it. Like come up with the best ideas. And I really loved what you did. Yeah, I think probably the first week, you guys when I put you under me, you went out and made something happen, and I was really impressed. So tell me, what did your team do specifically using Unicore? And I know there's going to be many more examples coming, but tell me about those specific ones.
So I know the director had done a visit at Hazleton, and he had toured the Unicore factory, and they were making light posts. And, of course, anywhere you go, you're going to see our light posts are in horrible condition. It's just a heavily impacted thing, with snow, with whatever. And he had went out and toured that plant, and they said, he liked what they had to present. And he told them, hey, you need to get in touch with Justin Thornton. Well, I used to work at Hazleton with all of those staff that's currently running that plant. So, of course, they picked the phone up and called me. So I told him, I said, hey, let me get a group of people together. I talked through my team. I said, look, guys, I'm just trying to see if you have any kind of meaningful input to this. It's a day trip. Let's go down to Hazleton and look around. So called, worked it out with the wardens, went down for a day, toured that plant, and it was that Unicore factory. It became larger than what it even was. We saw light posts, and we saw we saw Unicore saying, listen, you tell us what you want. If this is not what you want, if you want it done a different way, tell me. So I actually took electricians from the field. I had a couple institutions meet us there. They went out and I said, guys, listen, I'm not even going to make the decision. This is 100% on y'all. Like no pressure, but it's on you. If this light pole does not meet your requirements, you just tell them right now. Tell them what you want it to be. And they did. They were candid with them, said, hey, we need to have this. We need to have that modification. Unicore says, no problem. We'll make it happen. It ended up, it was a perfect product that they had produced. So then we started kind of talking amongst ourselves, when I was having a conversation before our visit with the Unicore staff. I said, what all kind of stuff can you do with metal? You tell us what you want, and we'll do it. So I said, well, I can tell you doors. That's a huge problem in BOP, and we pay a lot of money for doors. And it's kind of a monopolized business to where, they can charge what they want to for that. So Unicore says, well, you tell us the specs, and I'll build a door that meets anything that you're buying, on the out in the public. So we gave them all the specs, and we're looking at a huge cost savings for doors.
So give me an example. What a door costs us now, and what a door might cost us having Unicore do it.
A door costs us now about $8,500. A door costs us through Unicore. I mean, we're looking. I mean, I don't want to price their product before it's done, but they're talking half.
Okay.
I mean, realistically, half. And at the same time, we're out there looking at those doors and stuff, or looking, at these poles and talking about these doors. Well, then I have an inmate walk up to me and says, hey, Mr. Thornton, here, look at this hinge that I made. And I look at it, and I'm like, well, you didn't make that. That's something we bought. No, it's the exact same hinge that we buy in bulk. And I mean, like I said, I was a facility manager. You buy hinges all the time, and they're expensive. They're crazy expensive to what you would imagine going to Home Depot and buying a hinge, and then you buy a prison hinge. And it's, you're talking I think it was like $106. They're building them for $55.
Wow.
So again, and I think a lot of the, it's easy for us to say, hey, these are great products. We need to do this. But then you have to figure out a way to procure them. That's the next thing. So we immediately went back, hey, contracting, what can we do? We worked up here with contracting folks up here. They said, hey, we'll just figure out, we'll get you a blanket agreement, that you can buy these through your office. You can buy from Unicore. You can procure these. So I just, I just want to eliminate everything I possibly can for the field. Like if there's any extra effort or if there's any red tape they have to go through, I would rather assume that at our office. Let us take that. I don't want them. I don't want them. They do it. It's a whole different world in the field to be running facilities. They shouldn't have to deal with all of this other, you know, um, paperwork and all this other stuff that's just gonna push out this procurement even further. So we're just trying to, make these deals, set up the documentation,
Good.
set up the purchase path, the vehicle out of our level, and then let them just have a free purchase, to where they can purchase off of that. And they're getting a product that is at sometimes half price, made by inmates, and again, they're keeping these inmates and these factories in business. But then with what you said with the inmate pay, that's huge for us. I mean, you asked me last week, hey, how quick can you get this policy done? That's actually, I was working on that this morning. It's done. They've already got it
Oh,
done. It's
wow.
already through. I mean, I'm like a week and a half ahead of schedule.
Government doesn't get to
Not
do that
that,
much, does
oh,
it?
but it's not that, I'm ahead of schedule. It's the fact that I assigned this person. He actually brought, when you brought it up that day in front of us, he was the one that I assigned to deal with that. And he is so passionate about it. I mean, I see him green all the time, and he's working. And I've even told him, like, hey, you got to cut it off. You can't work after hours. It's a week and a half. It's a week and a half ahead of schedule. That's how passionate he is about it. He's already got it done. Already worked hand in hand with national policy to get it done. So now, I mean, that's something I'm proud of for our facilities folks out there. I mean, like I said, I know what it's like to get an inmate, get them trained up, and then lose them to another department because they pay 3 times what we did. We don't have, hopefully here soon, we're not going to have that issue. We're going to get those quality inmates that were, skilled, electricians, skilled plumbers, master level, on the outside. We're going to be employing them in facilities. We don't need them to go to all these other places just because they pay more. We're going to have that competitive edge with the pay.
You know, the I wasn't gonna talk about this, but I might as well because it'll be tough. Government doesn't like change. Government likes bureaucracy and all the layers, and I'm so glad. Like, I love hearing you say, "Hey, I've already made a couple of these decisions. They're just not even worth bringing up to you." That's what we need, and that's what I told you. I wanted to empower you to be able to do. And the you know, I say this all the time. Our facilities people, now that I've been out and traveled, there's a lot of our people in certain departments that deserve a lot of praise, a lot of recognition, a lot of awards. Man, facilities is one of those. Uh, you know, duct tape and string, or I think they had a different word for it, but seeing them just do so much with so little, it's impressive, and it's also saddening, right? Then I dig in deep, as you know, you've gotten to work with me now a little bit. I don't just sit in a meeting and take from the top. I want to get into the details, and so I've been able to do that now, and I see how the structure is, and frankly, I think we can do a lot of improvements there. And so I'll just prepare you, and I'm going to go ahead and prepare a lot of people out in the field that we're going to restructure that department. We're going to restructure it before I'm done with it and give it back. We're going to restructure that. We're going to make it operate better. We're going to make it streamline down to where we're able to get the people in the field the things they need when they need it. We're not going to keep putting this responsibility on people that aren't qualified to be able to do it, right? We're asking a lot from our wardens and some of the others to say, hey, here you go, you got this money now, where's the best way to use it? A lot of them, they're not facilities people, right? So they're trying to do the best with their budget and those things. We're going to make sure the facilities gets what it needs, and these facilities get what they need as much as we can. Again, we're still government. We're still hampered by the budget and the money that we have. By God, we're going to do the best job that we can with it. And so I just think we can improve a lot with our structure. I think we can, how the reporting does and who they report to. We've got a lot of different departments I'm learning. Even accountability is just, it's not where it needs to be and those things. And so just be prepared for that. I hope everybody welcomes it. If not, they'll just get over it and they'll get past that and they'll operate in a better way afterwards. But I'm assuming you would agree we could do a lot of improvements there.
Yes, sir. Yeah. There's a lot of, and again, frustration, there's budget issues. There's, again, there's just, at no fault of anyone. It's hard to focus on facilities when you're running a correctional institution. And, we actually this morning, um, our facilities today is our foundation for tomorrow's mission. That's our new slogan we implemented this morning. And that's something that I'm appreciative of. We now, there's always been this background of facilities. There's always this infrastructure issue. There's always been this backlog. And now, with the president's, big beautiful bill, I mean, there was only two things listed: staffing and infrastructure. $2 billion for infrastructure. So we just appreciate it. I mean, I know I hear from people, like I said, from the field, from the regions, from central office, from all levels, all grades. I mean, I know a lot of people everywhere, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls. And of course, they've all heard that facilities was taken over by the deputy director. You're the first person that's ever had your branch taken over by the deputy director. So I guess I hold that title proudly right now. And I think it's just bringing us to the forefront that you've just in our limited conversations, you've taken that commitment to us. You've said, listen, the president takes it serious. Congress is taking it serious. We're going to take it serious. We're not a background operation. We're not just, you know, performing maintenance in the background of an institution. Again, if we, and I think that's what, it's really been, great for me to be able to kind of hear you and then be able to relay that back to my staff is, if facilities aren't working right, you're not going to have a good running prison. You're not going to have a good running education department when your roof's leaking in the middle of GED testing. You're not going to have, a good running, inmates are getting really, really upset when that, and I remember that. I started as an officer, I remember what it was like when the showers weren't working. When you were saying hey, it's 9 o'clock, it's time for lockdown, and that ice machine doesn't work. Or the shower, there's only 3 showers operable, and you got all these inmates fighting over 3 showers, and you're telling them to lock down. That's when people, have the potential of getting hurt. You have inmates that are upset. You have staff that are just trying to do and they're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. So facilities has such an impact on everybody's operations across the board. And, it's not that we've just never really been viewed as a department. And I don't even know if we've viewed ourselves as a department that had such a huge impact on everyone's, operations and the orderly running of the institution. But like I said, we're the foundation of that. I mean, we impact everybody. If we're not taking care of our stuff, if we're not doing the best we possibly can, you do have that potential of getting someone hurt or an inmate injured, a staff injured, inmate injured. Any kind of emergency could happen. So we're just trying to change the way we're thinking. Not only with you taking us over. I mean, we're just trying to condition ourselves that hey, we got to do better ourselves. We want to do this. This is what we all talk about. But we've never really implemented this from our level, from the way we think truly, and we operate our business. So, I mean, we have, again, I'll tell you, it's ownership for us. I mean, we run the BOP facilities like we, we run it like it's our own business. I mean, we care about it. I mean, you've got people that truly are giving everything to facilities, and I'm just happy that the field relays that back. They can see the progress we're making, and we. Like I said, we're not even breaking a sweat yet. We're just getting started.
Yeah. No, I tell you, I'm so excited. Yes, you were the first that I took over because, again, Congress and the president have made this important, and I just think we should too. I mean, when they give you $2 billion, and I'm working on the $3 billion also pretty extensively, but I just think we need to be good stewards of that, and I think in government we can improve that a lot. I can tell you, it's very exciting to be able to work with somebody like you and some of your team to see you rise to the challenge of how do we do this? How do we stretch these dollars? How do we use them the right way? And then how do we get these facilities fixed? Our team out in the field deserve that. It's needed to be done, and you guys play such an important role. So I hope you'll communicate to your team how much they're appreciated, and how much I've just enjoyed seeing those ideas. And I'm looking forward to celebrating those ideas. We're going to find some of those ideas that are coming up. We're going to celebrate them in a bigger way than they probably even know. I've just learned the best ideas come from the field, and I love hearing them from you guys. So thank you for coming on here. Thank you for being willing to be filmed and share your heart and passion for this. And thanks for hitting it hard. I know you hit it hard. You don't do that government 8 hours and go home. I know it's a sacrifice to your family. You've moved a lot for this agency, and though most may never appreciate it or even see it. I just want to tell you, it is appreciated. And so please communicate that to your entire team. We're going to get this right. We're going to get facilities lined up right to where it operates in the future much better than it has in the past. And we're going to empower those of you in that agency, in that department, to be able to do a great job.
Yes, sir.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.